What's up, everybody? I have something very important to discuss with you today because right now you are in the biggest test of your life, of all of your lifetimes. And I do mean the biggest one. This is the final push of the cabal, okay, or the darkness, the shadow, from your ability to rise to the light, okay? So let the crown games begin kept repeating in my head this morning. And I recently came out of another negative energy pull, right? Um, we have to understand is that things are not normal right now, right? The DM can't just pretend to be a civilian. We can't just pretend that things are not happening, because if we are doing that, you may end up where you don't want to go. Okay, this stuff is very real. And this is not about fear, but today's message, as far as our soul path guidance goes, is every choice you make right now is very important. Okay? For the new DM to pretend that he's just a normal civilian is not okay. Because he's not. He affects everybody on this planet. We all affect everybody and each other in different ways, and in ways we don't even see, right? So every choice you make is so important right now. You see, the thing is the cabal thinks it's winning. It's trying to. It's trying to win. The way the cabal wins is by taking your power. The way the cabal wins is by getting you to give it your light of God. Because you are all a fragmented piece of God. You are all a fragmented piece of the light of the one and the sun and the moon, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And there was like all these things coming at me that didn't feel good, people treating me badly, people bringing things that are not of love into the work that I do. And I'm like, I had to take a step back, and I had to realize is that, yeah, it may look like nobody gives two craps about me and the work that I've done, but I know the work that I've done is so very important for all of you. It is something that is so massive and so big, and it is the most important things that you could take part in, that you could witness, that you can experience in all of your lifetimes. Let the crown games begin. This is the most important time of your life right now, of all of your lives. And the choices have to be in, is it love or is it not love? And the final portal, the final timeline that we are in, the final push, the final energy that we are in, the final wave that we are now in, you will be tested hand and foot. Okay? These energies are massive. It's about wrath. It's about judgment. It's about fear. It's about greed. All of them circling back around at you. And it takes strength. It takes fortitude. It takes valor. It takes honor. Now the words "let the crown games begin" kept circling in my head. Do you know where that came from? I'm going to show you where that came from. Let the crown games begin. I didn't fully understand the first time I heard it. I was thinking, well, we're going to win because the return of the gods is complete. Okay? They cannot stop the work. That's one thing you need to understand is, why is the cabal pushing so hard? They can't stop the work. Okay? They cannot stop the work. The only thing they can stop is you from rising. And they do it by using your wounds against you, using your fears against you, using money to create fear within you. Fear is the most toxic thing you could ever imagine. And when my first DM died, right before he died, God asked him, "What are you bringing to the Last Supper?" Do you know why he said that? This is the Last Supper. Every day you need to consider is the Last Supper. What are you eating? What are you ingesting? And what are you bringing to the table? Okay? Recently I went to the River of Justice. It is the Nile portal. The Nile portal is the final portal. By the way, we also just had another plane crash. But I'm going to take my time and I'm going to go over these things with you. Okay, these are very important. Why did the plane crash matter? We had one yesterday, one today over Florida, which was pretty catastrophic. My Wi-Fi went crazy. I had to reestablish my Alexa thingy. I like had to reset it up, reestablish it and everything. So we've had some major waves of change, and I predicted these plane crashes. But before I get into that, I want to talk to you about the Crown Games. You are in the Crown Games. What does that mean when the return has already been won? Let's listen very carefully to this. This was Christmas Day of 22, what God called the resurrection of Christ, when I undid the Holy Grail. Let's listen.
Of 2021. It was right after my birthday, in the meditation and be completely engulfed in Christ's light and healing. Okay, it's totally up to you guys. Spirit will always give those who are ready for whatever they're ready for what they need when they come to my healings. Okay, so whatever is needed for you, rest assured you will receive it. Whether you're a twin flame today or not, you are going to witness cleansing of Christ, the resurrection of Christ. This is Christmas, the resurrection. That's what they're calling it. Okay, now I already freed.
Little context. They told me to call off the crisis line, my job, and come do a live that day. And that's all I knew. And then I got a little tidbits of what was coming. So this was a live on Christmas Day on this channel. Spirit said, don't go to work, just do a live. And I was like, okay. It was Christmas Day. And I called off the crisis line. And I didn't know why. And this is what was coming through.
Jesus' soul. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think it was August 6th to the 7th of 2021. It was right after my birthday that year. Okay. Oh, Amy B says, truly amazing and healing. Thank you. Inside, which took about 20 minutes. It was a very slow pain puzzle. I have, right? There's not many that can do healings like this. So August 6th. That's what I thought. I keep thinking it was August 6th. I just hate to do it.
So I processed his death first on August 6th of 2021. And that you can also find on my channel. So at first when I did it, I was like, that's got to be the resurrection. What is this? What is happening? You know, is that it? No. But in this, you're about to listen to a very important message. And I kept hearing, let the Crown Games begin. Please listen.
Injustice. But that was when we went to the mountains, and I didn't know it was coming. I was doing a workshop. And then it came through, and Jesus' soul was freed. He was poisoned by John the Apostle. I have to give the story again, just for those who do not know. It was like cyanide, like art cyanide. Like, that's what it was like cyanide, and it hurt very bad. My inside started burning, and it was like being eaten up from the inside, which took about 20 minutes. It was a very slow, painful death. He was murdered. He didn't die for your sins. Fuck no. That's what they tell you guys so that you'll sin. Okay? Because that also goes with this message that I'm about to give you. I think that's part of the ploy. And then they would make you in church kneel down and drink the blood and eat the bread. It's like you're participating in killing him. Okay? I don't know about you. I am completely spiritual. I'm completely connected to God. But I truly have never felt like I was connected to the church. There's more reason.
By the way, I just undid the Sistine Chapel part 1 and part 2, and God said in that is now the Antichrist is fully exposed, and that happens when it's time to rise. So you are being tested for the final time right now. These are the biggest tests of your life. This is the most important choices you will ever make. Okay? And it has the choices in the shadow or light. Do you choose judgment? Or do you choose to actually see the work, to honor the work, to honor the one, to choose love, to choose to do the work, to choose soul growth, to choose the path of the sun and the one and the rise and, you know, the holy people, as my Native American friend would say? Or do you choose the path of judgment and greed and fear? This is the final test. And there was a huge push against me to shut down again, to quit doing what I'm doing. An attack again kind of on my DM and my energy. I had to fix my Merkabah yesterday, which I didn't even see coming, live on Facebook. And then this morning I kept hearing Crown Games, Crown Games. And the thing about this Crown Games that you're about to hear me talk about is that it was never about whether the end was going to come. The end was coming. I did the work. We won. I did it all. We already won. You cannot stop the ascension. They cannot stop the ascension. And if you watch me birthing the new earth, the matrix will be left unattached to any light and breaking up into nothingness. Okay? So there is no way that they're going to remain the same. There is no way. There is no way they're going to continue having power over this earth at all. Their Crown Games, the only thing they can win is your soul. Let's listen.
reasons why every time this stuff comes out for me, I'm like, holy moly, artichoke, like, holy crap, right? Like, how many of us participate in that thinking that it's a blessing? Lord, help us all. That's all I can say. You think that Judgment Day is not real? Oh, honey bunny. Think again.
Keep watching this video. This is going to be such an important video because I talked about what Judgment Day is too. I'm going to show you that. That was in my 2025 predictions. We are in the crown game. So which side are you on? Now is the time to decide because this is it.
Okay, Judgment Day is upon you. And this is the resurrection on Christmas. Christ's resurrection. And I'm so excited. Okay.
By the way, I didn't even know what that meant yet. Keep watching.
The return of Christ is layered. Okay, it wasn't just the return of Adam and Eve. It is, but this is also a part of that. Okay, why it had to happen now has to do with the twin flames. All right, so maybe my DM is doing something. I'm not sure, but we're to the part now because I'm constantly healing. He's going to allow them to come fill our space with light and healing. Energies of the north, the east. Mary Magdalene is.
So I just want to get to where I read their message.
Lake Titicaca, okay? That's what they're saying. Lake Titicaca, my pyramid, that was the heart of Atlantis. Okay, so that is the heart of Atlantis. I've said this before, it's come through before. What I'm seeing right now, okay, is as I'm opening up this energy, okay, I'm seeing my pyramid, and then around the pyramid, I'm seeing what looks like lava begin to flow. All right, it almost looks like blood being shed from the pyramid down into the earth. So down from the pyramid into the crystalline grid. It's like lava. It's very red. It's very heated. And that is the energy that is coming out right now. Okay, so as I'm open.
By the way, you guys, if you don't watch my pyramid activations, I told you there was going to be earthquakes in those areas and in certain areas and certain things. And there's been one now in Myanmar and Thailand, which are two pyramids I activated, and Indonesia yesterday, which is another pyramid I activated. So what you are actually witnessing is all of the work that I have been doing since 2019, and it's been right here on this channel the whole time. So let me ask you again, is the cabal winning over you? Or is it the light? Okay, so let's just listen. I'm not going to play this entire video. In the end of this, I do undo the Holy Grail and unite the Jesus and Mary Magdalene on the soul level, which I had already united with my DM on. And right before this, I got to walk in twin soul because they attacked me. They tried to stop the ascension, which is similar to what happened in the time of Adam and Eve. So just listen.
Opening up the energy of these pyramids and of that space, which I've already activated a couple of years ago, okay? They are showing me something near Lake Titicaca, and it's like this lava flow, all right? And it's going down. It's very interesting. I don't know what that means. I don't know why I have to reiterate that, but I do. It's very important, okay? So I call on all these beings. He was, again, poisoned in his hands because when he was poisoned, he bled out of every orifice. I felt it happen, okay? So the depictions they're giving you, some are accurate, some are not. And then in church, they feed you the blood and the bread that poisoned him, the wine and the bread. He ate them and drank them both. They both had poisoning in it.
The thing about the work that I do is everything I say is relevant. And it will circle around at some point. It all has meaning. There is nothing that I say in these things that really truly doesn't have meaning. And that won't be seen at some point. So it's so important to not skip over. It's so important to listen to all details. It's so important to not make judgments and assumptions being brought into this work because it's bigger than you. And your choices that you make right now determine on which side of that crown game you are on, because the cabal's push, they can't stop what's been done. They've lost. The only thing that they can do is win your soul. It is a soul battle. It's a spiritual warfare. And even what's his name? Russell Brand said that. Can you not tell that we're in a spiritual war right now? This is the final push. Let the crown games begin.
Because they didn't know which one he would take. He was so hungry. He took them both. And here's the thing, is Jesus kind of knew something was wrong. He knew something was wrong.
So there's a thing I write, I channeled a message in this that I'm trying to get to. I should have paid more attention to exactly where it was. And in it, it says, let the crown games begin. It's a very important message. And that's what kept circling in my head today. So let's listen.
So I don't know what happened with Mary Magdalene, but what I'm kind of seeing is like a meeting, like they're talking. She's devastated. She was absolutely devastated. So when your twin flame dies and you're connected, it's like a piece of your soul dies, okay? And I don't know exactly what happened. I don't want to say that she helped poison him. I can't believe that. Like that would be devastating to me. But she did do something with the blood, and she did do something with the Holy Grail, and then I do believe she helped John the Apostle benefit from it. Okay? So there is major bloodshed within it. Major bloodshed within the collective soul. And this is absolutely Christmas the Resurrection. So I'm going to read
Here it is.
what was channeled.
Here it is.
Wait till you guys hear this, okay? Again, I was supposed to be doing this with my twin flame. He's being bypassed. It's not a joke where there's things for him to do.
Yeah, the DM asking like he just wants to be a civilian. He hurts me so bad, and he hurts the collective soul. And it's a constant battle, and I'm tired. Like, we need to get it together. We need to pull up our big girl panties, you know what I'm saying? Or our boxer briefs or whatever it is, and realize that the shit is hitting the fan, and we need to choose. Is it love we really want? Are we here to rise? Are we here to be truly giving our power to the shadow side? Are we ready to rise? Are we ready to grow as a soul? Or are we going to continue the wounded path? Okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, as we are in the final push, this is it. This is a major final push of the dark mass. The crown games. And the crown games, listen to this message.
It's nothing to take lightly. It's to take seriously. My DM died. Let's not forget that. Okay? Let's not forget that. So, this is what they said. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light can't be done in the darkness. I have to repeat that. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light, oh, the chills, can't be done in the darkness. What is done in the darkness will not flow into the light. Oh.
Duality is done.
We are not equal parts darkness and light. We are not. We are filled only with heavenly pure light. It is balance only of masculine and feminine, which is what has been off. There is and can only be masculine and feminine. There is no deviations of the such. Allow the crown games to begin. We are now opening up the energy of the One, the Holy One, from the heavens above, beginning to come down. This will not affect all of you. It cannot come directly from that. It's going to filter through the pyramidal flow.
The pyramids.
So the light from the heavens above, from the Creator, is coming down through the pyramids that I've activated in Fiji, Myanmar, Budapest, Thailand, Machu Picchu, and Lake Titicaca, my pyramid. Okay, the light is coming down through those. And remember I said at Lake Titicaca there was like this weird lava flow coming down, okay? Now this Christ light is coming through those and all the way through those and into the crystalline grid. Holy hell, forgive me.
So right before I did this video, I brought down the blood of Christ, okay? And I talked about that. So I did that before I did this part. So why did we need the blood of Christ to anoint? Why did we need the cleansing of the blood of Christ? Comes out in undoing the Holy Grail. What the Holy Grail is a contract written in Jesus's blood when they murdered him. So the Sistine Chapel, undoing that recently, talked about, here's the plane crashes, by the way. So undoing the Sistine Chapel really recently was very important, okay? Because in that, God gave messages through scripture, but also when I undid the Sistine Chapel, it came through that Bible verses from the Holy Grail was spread out through the Bible. Okay. And so a lot of that Bible was poison, just like I talked about with the church giving you wine and bread for communion, which was actually what killed Jesus. Okay, so they're feeding you the poison. And I'm going to say it again is DM, what are you bringing to the Last Supper? What are all of you bringing to the Last Supper? It's pretty important, right? What are you bringing to the Last Supper? And why? Like, seriously, why? So again, crown games, okay?
So, this is what they said. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light can't be done in the darkness. I have to repeat that. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light, oh, the chills, can't be done in the darkness. What is done in the darkness will not flow into the light. Oh. We are not equal parts darkness and light. We are not. We are filled only with heavenly pure light. It is balance only of masculine and feminine, which is what has been off. There is and can only be masculine and feminine. There is no deviations of the such. Allow the crown games to begin.
Yep. Okay, so recently I undid the Sistine Chapel part 1 and part 2. Okay. Today also I start to do something with the pyramids. We're going to octavite the pyramids. Here's the female pyramids that I activated. Activated the Sphinx. The God portal was Fiji. Did that one after I cleared Mt Shasta, which was not of light. So there's a lot of work on here. Activated the dormant chakra systems. Undid the collective shadow for now you must rise out of. Okay. Then the battle for my twin flame ensued. God married my DM and I. And then he chose to let the darkness attack me. Choose the shadow, choose fear, choose whatever. And then eventually God said enough, and it was a battle of my life. Okay. And God said I was battling the deep blue sea. Okay. So if you don't think what I've done is biblical, think again. Okay. The day I got a walk-in DM, why can I say my DM died? Because he did. His soul was ripped in half, and I got a new walk-in DM completely. And then he had to integrate with the moon and all that stuff, brought down the blood of Christ, undid the Holy Grail. And that's where they said, let the crown games begin. So what does it mean for the crown games to begin? Is that, do you judge this work? Do you judge God? Do you bring love to the one, the sun, the moon? Do you choose the path of love and light and rise? And if you found me, there's a reason. It's harder for you, probably because you have bigger things to do. You know what I'm saying? So the resistance is going to be quite mighty. Some of us are chosen to see things ahead of the game so that we can help many. And when that happens, there's a big push of the resistance. And people have been treating me horrible. And I do mean pretty horribly. And maybe not through words, but they'll unfollow, they won't watch, they dislike things. And it's like, do you realize what you're doing? And I try not to take that personally, but let me tell you, with the DM doing what he's done, with everything, it's like, the cabal thinks they're winning. The crown games, that kept hitting my head this morning. Crown games, the cabal thinks they're winning. Why would they think that if I undid everything? Okay? I undid everything. Yes, I did it. The angels and I did it. My new DM helped a little bit in the masculine pyramid sector. I undid everything against all odds. Okay, I processed the Earth's death. But here's the thing about the thing, my friends, is no, not everybody's going to make it. Okay? They're not, because of what they are choosing. And then 3 years ago, what are you bringing to the Last Supper? Spirit wants to know. Okay? Because this is what that is. This is the crown game. So the cabal thinks that they have power when they get you to give your light to them. To them, they're winning because they're getting a lot of you to give your light to them. But the thing is it didn't stop the work. Horus returned, Sekhmet returned. The Nile is the final portal. I did this one a year ago. Okay. Actually, she's almost 2 years ago. All right. And then we had a tribulation period that God cut short. Okay, he did. I brought down all the Christ light through the trees because 144,000 weren't ready. Religion began to be undone. I brought down the full power of the sun through Newgrange, Ireland, okay, which were ley line activations, crystalline grid. I did that work, all right? You guys, and then God said enough. The Nile is now, and I took the earth through those portals. Then I birthed the new earth. This is so important to understand, which most people are choosing not to see. If you were here and you had an opportunity to see, to partake, it's because you were being called for big things. And so when they say the crown games, it finally makes sense to me now. Because I'm like, we're winning, but are we? Or are they winning over you? Okay, so the cabal thinks they're winning because they're getting a lot of mankind to give their light to them. So in their minds, that's how they destroyed the planet to begin with. That's how they took the power of the light to begin with. But it can't be stopped. Why is birthing the new earth so important to watch? Because in each one of these, the matrix dies. It has been separated from the new earth. We can't be duality anymore. We cannot be duality anymore. At all. We cannot be.
Is to take seriously, my DM died. Let's not forget that. Okay? Let's not forget that. So, this is what they said. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light can't be done in the darkness. I have to repeat that. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light, the chills, can't be done in the darkness. What is done in the darkness will not flow into the light. We are not equal parts darkness and light. We are not. We are filled only with heavenly pure light. It is balance only of masculine and feminine, which is what has been off. There is and can only be masculine and feminine. There is no deviations of the such. Allow the crown games to begin.
So that's why the cabal thinks they're winning. Okay? Because they have managed
Tower of London,
to
burning to the ground.
We don't want to listen to that yet. They have managed to mess with people still getting to give their light to the shadow. But the thing is no matter what happens, the only thing they can do is win you, okay? They can't win the ascension. So it just means you don't rise, right? So which side are you guys? This is the final push. This is the final call. And the starseeds and light workers were supposed to be the front line for all of mankind. I said that a while ago. I did a video, are you going to be the front line for mankind? And instead, people were choosing to bring darkness into the light and attacked me. And even the DM is choosing that. He just wants to be a regular civilian. And you can't pretend to be something we're not. And we cannot give our light to the shadow anymore and consider we're rising. Okay? And to think that the world is going to wait for you, it's not. This work's already been done. Okay? So we are truly in the final push. And in the birthing of the new earth, it's not just birthing the new earth. The matrix becomes a ball of mass. The old earth becomes nothingness and falls apart, all disconnected from the light. Duality is done. Okay? Undoing the Sistine Chapel, part 1, big work. All right? They held captive the cherub angels, which were the protectors of Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden. I freed them. And then I had to cleanse the chapel with the blood of Christ, and the paint started crumbling. And then recently I undid it, part 2, and God gave a message in that. It's very important to hear that message. Okay? Antichrist, portal of darkness. St. Francis's heart stopped, like I literally separated his soul from his body. And God said that was the Antichrist exposed, which means it's now time to rise. Okay? And before I did that, I went through the river of justice. Okay? which I didn't realize that's what was happening, you guys. It was very painful. It was very painful, and I had to process out the cross, which was not of God, and Jesus rose from the river. All the work that I did was processed through the river of justice, which they called silver and gold, which is my new painting, by the way, that I've been working on. Okay, and it said your faith will be tested in the final days. Your faith will be tested in the final days. Okay, and there's been so much push against me. I have not one person who is there to help protect this light, who is there to help balance and camaraderie and work together and speak their truth and shine through love. It's like, is the cabal winning? Let the crown games begin is what that meant. Okay. Let the crown games begin is what that meant. So we've also had the plane crashes. Okay, we had a major plane crash today over Florida, Boca, Florida. It was pretty bad. It crashed down into traffic. Cars were burned. Apparently bodies everywhere. I don't want to get into the negativity of that. There was a earthquake in Indonesia, which is one of the pyramids I activated yesterday, day before. There was also another plane crash in the Hudson River yesterday. Why is that important to understand? Well, because in my 2025 predictions, I predicted plane crashes this year.
Somewhat cryptic form. So in some of these things, I talk about fires, okay? And when I talk about it, might be an actual physical fire, and it might be a representation of the end of it. Does that make sense? But some of these are physical fires coming as well, they said.
Yes, I also predicted the fires. And those happened too. So all my 2025 predictions are coming true. Vatican, let's listen to this. This was the 2025 predictions. I didn't know I was undoing the Sistine Chapel Part 2 this year. I had no idea that was coming. I never do.
So let's listen. The end of a familiar line of mankind, governmental truce. Listen to this because somebody dies. Governmental truce coming out in waves and a collapse of a false, malevolent system. Governmental truce coming out in waves and a collapse of a false, malevolent system, 2025.
Yeah, this is for 2025. And they didn't even take me all the way to the end of 2025.
Biden dies. Oh, I just got chills. Biden dies. Okay? And Trump exposes things some are not prepared for. Collapse of a financial system. The chills were overwhelming. Trump exposes things some are not prepared for. Biden does pass away in 2025. That's what Spirit says. Collapse of a financial... Oh, the chills were overwhelming when I say that. Oh my goodness. Collapse of a financial system and systems. There's more to that too. An exposure of a new form of money control system. Elite systems will fall across the globe. So I've also tuned into the medical field, the transportation system. They say something about trains and planes and even power lines.
Okay, wait. A new money system would be exposed. Didn't Trump just release some kind of money system? Yeah.
But if you've watched the Return of Christ work I've done, I kind of told you power lines will crumble and burn. And other things, because it's a false system, okay? So everything from the matrix must fall. Does that mean that those that stay are going to be left with nothing? No. Let's listen.
This is important to hear.
Are you with me? Biden dies. That's what they said. When they said that, I'm like, ooh. Okay, you really want me to say it? Like, it's on here, and I got it again today. So I started channeling this the other day. Okay, Trump exposes things some are not prepared for. An exposure of a new form of money control system. Okay, big shift in humanity. A divide of light and dark. Shifts in land and changes in tides. And this is actual physical land coming. Okay, so you think yesterday was something, don't get complacent thinking that it meant nothing's coming either. God says that. That is a warning and a fair warning. Okay? Shifts in land and changes in tides.
So that's what I told you. California was cut off from life support. I've been saying that since I cleared Mt Shasta Part 1, but also repeatedly in all of the things that I do. And then I also told you California is not safe. It's cut off from life support, meaning there will be no protections for California. And also, isn't California like the hub of Hollywood? Which is also like part of the government system too.
Everything I say is so important. Everything I say is so important in these. I talked about fires, and I started talking about California and Hollywood. Where were the fires? And I said they're not going to tell you where the fires are because we're not here to spark fear. We're here to see whose heart's pure and wants to rise and see the truth above all. Crown games. So let's listen.
They're all
God doesn't go against free will, but the shadow side manipulates your free will because they want you to give your light to them, which, let's be real, how many of you have been? Let's listen.
Connected. You know, they're all connected. And when I was channeling missing people, Marilyn Monroe said, "What a tangled web we weave." Okay, anyways. So shifts in land and changes in tides. This is actual physical, okay? Water is cleansing. There's gods all over the planet now since I did Fiji Part 1 and 2, and I've opened up the God portal. All of the gods in the energetic form are here, and they will begin to rise and be.
Now remember, God said this is not the apocalypse. This is the return of gods. When people call the apocalypse, that's the side of fear. That's the side that's falling. Yeah, they have to fall. It has to crash and burn. It doesn't belong, and it stole the light and took all of the power of mankind. That's why it's crown games. So I kept hearing this morning, crown games, crown games. And I'm like, they almost got me. Ew, icky. Like I almost gave up because everybody's treating me so badly. But now I know why. And this is why the cabal thinks it's winning.
Become one with those that remain. Okay. More true earth exposures and exodus of Egypt. What does that mean? Okay, wait. Hear me carefully. More true earth exposures. Okay. So you know how they talk about the inner earth? It's just a false reality crumbling into where you can see truths.
Wait, didn't something just happen with the pyramids that exposed what was underneath them? I also said that was going to happen when I cleared the Sphinx and awakened the Sphinx. And I think even in Horus Return, he rose from the Sphinx. The ground shook, the dust moved, and what was underneath was exposed. I have been saying this since I did the pyramid activations, which is not normal. And when I did the Sphinx activation, which is not normal. And I didn't realize I just said this. I told you everything I say matters. Everything. I don't just come from a space of my head. I am literally always constantly channeling through spirit. That's why God calls me a divine guide. So I literally, now I'm like looking back, I know why they wanted me to go over this.
Gods in the energetic form are here, and they will begin to rise and become one with those that remain.
Because the pyramids were just exposed.
More true earth exposures and exodus of Egypt. What does that mean? Okay, wait. Hear me carefully. More true earth exposures. Okay? So you know how they talk about the inner earth? It's just a false reality crumbling into where you can see truths. Okay. More true earth the chills when I said that one too, y'all. So many validations. I'm clearing something there. But this exodus of Egypt is very important because I did the Nile, Nigeria. There was lots of pyramids that I cleared in Egypt itself, but not the ones that you're familiar with, right? Let's see, Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe, like Africa's part of the Nile, like all of that is kind of connected. Also the Sphinx, things I did, the Sphinx, Horus rose from the Sphinx. And sometimes I'm like, I thought that's where he died. And then other times I'm like, that is a portal. Did he just rise out of the portal? I've never asked specifics. I just did the work. I freed the moon, completely healed the moon, realigned the sun and the moon. And then Horus, after all darkness was cleared, the Nile was done. Horus's soul was set free and found my DM.
The Sphinx is the portal of time. I activated it back when I first started activating the female pyramids. Fiji, and then I think Indonesia, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand, and then the Sphinx. Okay, the masculine pyramids didn't come until after I undid the Holy Grail. And the Nile, I think. Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see. That's on my channel too. So when I say the Exodus of Egypt, also when I was doing one of the things, I don't know if it was with the Sphinx itself or what I was doing there, but I saw all the dirt kick up and all of these things happened. So there will be a reign of justice flowing through there. And I think that's what this means, Exodus of Egypt. But I didn't really look that up. Echo, what does Exodus mean? I feel like it's
Exodus is usually defined as a going out, a departure or immigration, usually of a large number of people. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for Exodus.
Well, there you go. Okay. So that's what I felt it like. It's a big shift in Egypt.
Let's keep listening.
So more true earth exposures. And it goes with the work I've done, you guys. When I was doing the pyramid activations and clearing Sphinx, something in there, I remember seeing this a couple times where the sand would kick up and like big tornado formations, which means changes in the land. And I kept saying exposures, and they need to get rid of energies that don't belong there. I said that. So I felt like that's what that meant when this was coming through. But again, spirit is very vast, okay? So don't place limitations on this message. Just put them in our pocket. Big shift in humanity, a divide of the light and dark, which is already happening. Shifts in land and changes in tides. So I have actually said many, many times near Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe, where I did that work, the land will shift. I've also said that changes in tides will come in through San Francisco, through the bridge there. I've seen that, wiping out the bridge and people screaming and didn't know it was coming. And then I've also said that California is not safe, and it will become very much so wiped out. Whatever that means, right? So, and now we have also more truth earth exposures. So the true earth will rise and the false one will crumble, physically and spiritually speaking, God's saying, physically and spiritually speaking. And then the Exodus of Egypt. Also, that's part of the Nile wrath. Sekhmet has returned. Okay, so watch that. Further development and activity of pyramid activations, portals exposed. So the pyramids that I activated, there were 13 of them, I believe. It was Indonesia, Fiji, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand. Those were all feminine ones, and there might have been more.
And we just had an earthquake in Myanmar and Thailand, and now in Indonesia. There's no coincidences. They don't exist. These are all where I've activated pyramids. We've got all the plane crashes coming through. We have all these exposures in Egypt. So far, everything that I've predicted is coming true. Okay? New money being exposed and brought forth. Let's listen.
And then there was Kilimanjaro, Congo, British Columbia, Ecuador. Yeah, Ecuador. There's 13 of them. Okay, so further development and activity. So I see things happening around those portals, and those are what's sparking a lot of the earthquake activity. Since I've done them, we have gone up in earthquake activity, fires, things like that.
I'm doing the 2025 predictions, and I'm literally just going over the pyramid activations and saying further energy and earthquakes. I didn't realize that I even predicted that. And look, here we are.
I would actually talk about those, the coming, when I would do the pyramid activations. The Kilimanjaro one, I talked about the White House burning. I also talked about a fire coming in Hawaii, and then days later, the Lahaina fire occurred.
Yes.
Okay, I actually said I needed to move it over because I didn't want to lose all of Hawaii, and I kept saying fires, 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 and then it happened. So, what you have to watch the pyramid to understand what this means: further development and activity. Things in physical form and spiritual form. This is both physical to the earth and spiritual.
So I just said for 2025, there will be increased activities at the pyramid portals that I've activated: Indonesia, Myanmar, Thailand, Peru, Budapest, and earthquakes came out of my mouth. And here we are. We literally just had a massive earthquake in Myanmar and Thailand. I didn't realize I predicted that. And then we also have but I didn't just predict it. It's actually was shown in the work that I've done in the pyramid activations. In the masculine pyramid activations, Kilimanjaro, when I was doing that, I was doing something underwater in those pyramid activations. And it is in my playlist. It is on my channel for you to see and witness. And I literally said, I need to move over Hawaii. I don't want to lose it all. And I kept saying, Krakatoa, Krakatoa. I'm like, Krakatui, Krakatoa. And then I said, fires, 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 fires. And so I literally moved over Hawaii out of the retrospect of the energy work that I was doing. And then 6 days late, in that time, there was a volcano at Krakatoa, I believe. Something happened. And then the Lahaina fires. So I didn't also realize in here I was predicting the earthquakes at those portals. He said physical and energetic activity. So also the exodus of Egypt, the truth coming to light, inner earth being exposed just happened, and I predicted that too. Oh my.
For 2025 coming forward, there will be further development and activity of pyramid activations and portals exposed. So we are now rising through those portals. Those portals are the pyramid activations. That's what caused them. Rising the earth in frequency. Okay? A shift in mentality of the collective soul. Watching my time because I have a healing today. Okay, listen to this one. A shift in I wrote it, I was channeling it all, so some of my handwriting, I'm like, what? Okay, anyways. Shift in mentality of the collective soul, bringing some back to the whole of the one. Okay. Religion exposed. Okay.
Oops. Oh, shit.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry about that.
Everything I've done in the return of Christ. Okay. And that's where portals exposed. So the pyramids that I activated, there were 13 of them, I believe.
Sorry about that.
Activity. So I see things happening around those portals, and those are what's sparking a lot of the earthquake activity. Since I've done them, what you have to watch the pyramid to understand the of the collective soul. Watching my time because I have a healing.
So I just said religion exposed. And I literally just did the Sistine Chapel 1 and 2. Part 2 I just did days ago. And I didn't know it was coming. My kids actually had to help me because nobody was viable to help me. Nobody was viable enough. Nobody was pure of the heart to help me. And so, Crown Games, my friends, Crown Games. Is the Cabal winning or are they not? They can't win either way. The only thing they can win is you.
Today. Okay, listen to this one. A shift in I wrote it, I was channeling it all, so some of my handwriting, I'm like, what? Okay, anyways. Shift in mentality of the collective soul, bringing some back to the whole of the one. Okay. Religion exposed. Okay.
Religion exposed. So I channeled this, I did this months ago. And I just undid part 2. And they said that was the Antichrist, the portal of darkness, was at the Sistine Chapel. And God said once that's exposed, it's done. We're done and it's time to rise. It's time to see the one.
Sudden death of the Pope was written, but I didn't get clarification on that, so I put a question mark.
So, sudden death of the Pope, the reason I questioned it, let me talk about this, because I recently just did the Antichrist, portal of darkness, St. Francis's heart stopped. But when I channeled it through here, it said St. Paul II, John Paul II exposed, or John Paul II, death of the Pope. And so I'm like really kind of questioning that. I was like, is it the same soul that keeps just coming back around? Like, is it because it's more like a darkness possession? Because that's the portal of darkness. So it's almost like as if the darkest figure just keeps repeating in different physical form. I don't know. And so I questioned it. But then here I was doing this days ago where literally I stepped outside of St. Francis and I separated his soul from his body and his heart stopped.
Religion exposed more than you know, because I undid the Sistine Chapel.
So I undid part 1, but not part 2 yet when I did this video. Part 1 was only freeing the souls from the underneath. I freed the angels from that were trapped underneath. And it was like this portal of lava. Part 2 was when St. Francis died. And that was just the other day. So I didn't even know that was coming.
And I've also, all religion has to fall. I've called back the Jewish symbol, which was the Merkabah. I've called back all the symbols that were divided. It was everything of God's light was divided and separated, and it can't be that way anymore.
Star of David. My DM's name was David. Jesus' soul, Jesus, the time of happen with Jesus is the Holy Grail, how that was all part of religion. Are you putting it together yet? Because I have, and it took me a long time to do that. So I undid the Holy Grail. I returned Jesus and Mary Magdalene's soul back together. My DM and my soul aligned back together. I got a walk-in DM to do it because the first time one again decided he was going to not partake. And the Holy Grail that they wrote when they murdered Jesus and took his blood and wrote the Holy Grail was a contract to trap all of mankind in the earth. And I said in there is that
So, this is what they said. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light can't be done in the darkness. I have to repeat that. Allow the crown games to begin. What is done in the light, oh, the chills, can't be done in the darkness. What is done in the darkness will not flow into the light. Oh. We are not equal parts darkness and light. We are not. We are filled only with heavenly pure light. It is balance only of masculine and feminine, which is what has been off. There is and can only be masculine and feminine. There is no deviations of the such. Allow the crown games to begin.
listen to this. This is when I started undoing the Holy Grail.
And he's like, it's this staff, and it almost has like a clear crystal on the top of it. And he sticks it down into the earth, and I am opening up the earth. I am opening up the earth. I am opening up the earth. And I am going to call back all of my blood.
That's why his blood was involved, okay? So this is where I start undoing the Holy Grail, and it's intense processing. That's Jesus coming through, Lord Sananda. Calling back his blood is because they used his blood to write the Holy Grail. Then they used the Holy Grail throughout the Bible, okay? They use the Holy Grail throughout the Bible. And I said that in the Antichrist and Portal of Darkness undoing and exposure. So he said this is the exposure of the Antichrist. St. Francis's heart stopped because I held on to my ankh as he was holding his cross, and I removed his soul from his body. Yeah.
So it's all been called back to the whole, and I've talked about that. So, and I also undid the Sistine Chapel, and I had to spray everything with the blood of Christ, and there was another way of anointing of the blood of Christ, okay?
So that was just the first one. I had not done the second part yet, which is where the Pope was no more, okay? I also undid the Bible, the false writing in the Bible, which is where they took parts of the Holy Grail, which was not holy, and put it throughout the Bible. And God gave a message in that one through Scripture, and it said the light is now. It's time to rise to the light. Basically.
And so, bringing back the truth of God, we are all connected in the heart space. There is no division. God is only love. There's no evil, right? God doesn't use that word ever. If I use that word, it's not from God. It's just darkness and light, okay? And that's where the division lies right now. We cannot be duality anymore. So, religion is more exposures of religion and something about a sudden death of the Pope and more than you know, okay? Those are what was said. Expansion of a limited mind, biggest shift ever of mankind. Okay.
Also, in doing the Sistine Chapel part 2 in the scripture that God gave me, I didn't think to look it up yet. It wasn't until a couple days later when I decided maybe that's a message. So I looked up the scripture passages. And even in one of those things he gave me, it was about somebody speaking in tongues, and only the one of light is going to be able to decipher that. And everything I do, I've gotten scrolls from God, and I read it, and it's a language that's written in the language of God. And I just read it, but I can see images, and I can feel it in my heart, and I see what it's doing. So that was also in there.
Then I said, release fear, make harmony with the past. Okay? The biggest shift of mankind is here at last. Realignment to the reign of Christ. So this year coming forward is realignment to the reign of Christ.
Let the crown games begin. The only thing they can win is you.
Reign, R-E-I-N, not like rain, like power, right? Justice to rectify the past. Okay, there's more. Are you with me? This is all what's coming forward. Now remember, just because we're in a calendar year of 2025, that yearly stuff, the time thing is going to shift. Time is a part of the shift.
I ended the false concept of time way back when.
Time is a part of the shift. So they had everything shortened. In Birthing the New Earth, when I recreated the seasons, they will elongate, and we will have no severes. When the earth needs rain, guess what? It's going to rain. When she needs sunshine, she will have sunshine. Okay? We will have seasons, but they will be elongated.
That's what you guys don't realize is unless you watch everything, including the birthing of the new earth, the matrix will not last. It cannot survive. It's going to actually crumble and fall into nothingness. So even the darkness is removed from the heart of the light because they were fallen. So they were still connected to that light, which is how they were able to manipulate mankind, get in our head, the holy grail, the shifting of the planet. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot be both darkness and light. You cannot bring the shadow into the light. You cannot remain duality and rise. You cannot. The ones that will rise are the ones that choose love, choose the path of the one, choose the path of love, choose the path of soul growth, healing all of their karma, which karma came out when I brought down the blood of Christ, is that this is a karmic shift. In my predictions, I'm going to also discuss with you, I talk to you about what Judgment Day really is. So let's listen.
And when the earth needs something, the heavens will provide. That's the new earth. There will be no extremes, no divides, no suffrage, no control.
All through the light of the one. Connectedness.
This is true. Okay? All right. You ready? Okay, so I asked God again. I was like, what happened yesterday? What was the 7.0, 7.3? I don't know who you're listening to. Earthquake. And then the warning for a tsunami coming in through San Francisco. They even evacuated the whole area, and then it never came, right? And so what's going to happen now? People are going to probably be like, nah, we're good. He said it was a warning and a precursor for what is to come. You will never be told when, but trust it does. Okay? Because I told you, I cleared Mount Shasta. This is the Nile portal. This is the end times painting. And then I just completed the New Earth painting. So I've completed it. I have not hung it up yet. But this is now the new. So I did the Nile painting as I was taking us into the portals. And then God said, okay, paint this one. And I got an image. And so then I painted the New Earth painting. Okay? So,
and in my March workshop, my March Creative Flow workshop, I got a download of an image for the River of Justice of silver and gold. That's the final portal. We are totally in the end. And the Crown Games is about your soul. Okay? Do you choose to judge this work? Or do you choose to open your heart and clear out what blinds you from the light? Crown Games, the only thing the shadow can win, which is a final push right now, is your soul. And every choice, and I do mean every choice, no matter how big or small, is massive and decides where you go.
Everything I've done in the Return of Christ, well, most of the differences and the things were painted. I have the 7D painting up there you can't see, okay? So, oh yeah, and yesterday, I don't know if I said this, after it happened, I was meditating and doing my healing light movement stuff because I do it for myself. And a crow came and he said, big changes are coming. And I was like, cool, cool. Crows have always been a part of the journey, especially when I was doing the return of like Jesus.
Not only then, recently when I closed down all portals of darkness, crows flew out of every one of my chakras, undoing all the power of the pentagram, the Pentagon, closing down all portals of darkness. They were closed, and all elements were removed from the pentagram, and returned back to the light, to new earth. And crows flew out of my chakras. When I won my DM's soul back right before I got a walk-in, because it was a battle for his soul, which makes sense, back to Adam and Eve and everything. And what happened to Jesus? They stole it. So when I won all that back, a crow flew out of it. God handed me a book and a crow flew out. And that's when they told me that was my soul coming back. So crows represent power in a very big way. Return of power. And when I went to up to Cripple Creek back in 2021, somebody that I was with, Sean, took me. Not with him anymore, but I was at the time. He even noticed there's crows everywhere. Like I can't drive. All these crows just kept surrounding me, like overwhelmingly, like something you couldn't deny, something out of a movie. And he's like, whoa. And I'm like, I know, whoa. And then we did the work, and it turns out I processed Jesus's death. So every time something big happened in the return of Christ, crows flew out of my chakras. Crows represented the soul returning. Crows. I love crows. So even in my newest painting, there are 3 crows. It's pretty awesome sauce.
Timeline. When I was undoing the Holy Grail, I was surrounded by crows everywhere I went. People would get overwhelmed. I'm like, it's all good. I got used to it. I love my crows. So I had a crow.
Also, what you guys don't realize is even my teeth took a hit. So my physical vessel was attacked severely with my first DM. This is also part of why I got another DM. He tried to rip my soul out of my body and put it into somebody else. In this time frame when I was battling my DM and battling for my soul and battling to keep going, and he ran off with a false goddess after our souls combined. He literally one night tried to rip my soul out of my body. I woke up wailing at 2:00 in the morning. My neighbors were freaked out, and Spirit said leave. So I just got in my car and drove around and got away from the area, and it finally stopped. They attacked and blew out my solar plexus. I like a Shawshank Redemption, like started throwing up all of this like stuffing and cockroaches, spiritually speaking, not necessarily physically, but I physically felt it. And even my teeth, they took all of the strength in my bones, like everything. My whole body was attacked multiple times over, and my teeth took a hit too. And it was very, very painful. And at the time, I even went to the dentist. Every tooth in my mouth hurt. And he's like, I don't see why. And so they have been processing through. So from my teeth to my physical vessel, they broke my arm. People were judging me, also trying to stop the ascension, attacking me. God said I went up against the red dragon, the deep blue sea. Like, it's all there. And so when people judge my looks now, I used to be super, super beautiful when I started this journey. Super beautiful. And God said it was a sacrifice that I made. And boy, did I ever. Okay, so try not to judge any of this. I know how I look now. And I know how I used to look. And it's hard for me. It's very hard for me. But I know what I sacrificed. And I know what I did. And every day I get up and I work out. And I don't smoke. I don't do anything. I focus on my health and my strength, and have to grieve who I used to be. So if you think this journey wasn't real, it's crown games, my friends. And if you want to throw judgments at me, that's not of God either.
Crow come yesterday while I was meditating, when everybody else was talking about and kind of posting about the 7.0, and I'm like, well, that wasn't it. You know what I mean? That's fail. Structures will crumble and shifts will, you have to have all karma cleared to rise, okay? Shifts will occur. And I've talked many times about what is karma. It's not so scary, but it deals with the structures, the shackles of the mind, okay? So structures will crumble and shifts will occur from structures of false to a balance of light and pure sovereignty. This is for 2025, but remember, this is going forward in general. Then I asked, what is the end of 2025? And got nothing. Okay. Structures will crumble and shifts will occur from structures of false to a balance of light and pure sovereignty. Beings of light will now rise and be in full view. Under the light of the one, the sun, and the moon. Now, if you've watched the work that I've done, my DM is the moon, and I am the sun. The eye of Horus is on the left side, the eye of Ra is on the right of your brain. And in order to get full activations of those, you have to release all shackles of the mind and be pure sovereign and love and joy and connected through the heart space. Okay? Sounds kookaloo, sounds movie-esque, but it's very real. Okay, I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. And this painting was done before I did the Sistine Chapel, and a whole bunch of souls rose.
Actually, most of that happened in part 2, which wasn't done yet. So I didn't even know that was coming. I thought it was done. I didn't know part 2 was coming. I didn't know that it dealt with the Pope dying. I didn't know that actually that's when I burned the crosses and all these souls rose. And yeah, I didn't even know it wasn't done yet.
From that, okay, and all the crosses burned and the Bible, and it was like all this darkness being exposed. Okay, it's like again. False. It was false. And then also I did the Nile a while ago, so I just thought this was the Nile painting, but it's everything. There's the pyramids, and then also there's San Francisco and a big earthquake in the water. Okay, and a volcano. All right. So, beings of light, you know how they talk a lot about the 144,000? Beings of light, they will be more exposed. Those that are rising will be seen more and more. Our truths, the light will all be exposed.
Which is why there's been this huge push on me right now to actually stop everything, to quit Facebook, to stop everything. This huge attack again. Like it blew out my Merkabah, which Archangel Metatron came during the live yesterday on Facebook and healed it for me. And I didn't even realize that it was that bad. Like, I just keep pushing past all this resistance. I keep showing up. Nobody's on that side to help protect me. I've kind of been doing it on my own. And they even said the masculine needs more protections. Like, I feel like he needs to really truly understand that what he's doing doesn't just affect him. He is not a normal civilian anymore, and he can't be that anymore. But I was also processing a death of the past, so I understand that. But you guys, I'm going to tell you right now, as this stuff is so very real, and the crown games are about where you give your power away. They can't stop the ascension. All darkness will be detached from the light. We cannot be duality anymore.
You know how we were being shamed and blamed, and even like when the V came out, like some of us were like shunned if we didn't take it, right? Some of us were like, no, I ain't touching that. Something's wrong with it. And they would tell us that we were the problem. So, you know, there was a lot of conspiracy theories, which how can you call it a conspiracy theory now when, like, how can you deny it?
I just looked at my phone and it's 11:11 on 11. Also, I start my 11 days workshop today to octavy the pyramids. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on right now. And then all the solar flares coming in. I also am going to get to the plane predictions. I predicted all these plane crashes, the fires. Let's listen.
At this point, right? You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference. So I asked God about that too. I'm like, you know, some people see what I see, but they go to the... Listen very carefully. So beings of light will rise and be in full view because the veil has been demolished. That was part of Mount Shasta. Under the light of the one, the sun, and the moon. Also at Mount Shasta, I returned the triangle with the eye back to Fiji over the God portal. So Christ consciousness has been returned and activated. I did all of that. Okay? Listen carefully, because I got a walk-in DM. I don't know this one, but I know my original. The new DM has not stepped forward as to where I know him. I don't know him yet.
Yeah, the original we dated, and I actually chose to unite to him through free will. This one was supposed to show up right away, but he didn't. I don't know who I'm connected to. I did fall in love with him on the inside, but I'm also very sad.
I feel him, and I love him. But I fell in love with him internally. I already love him. Let me tell I already love him. He is already very important to me. I was watching scary movies yesterday, and then I felt it sounds simple, but they're never simple. Sparks of kindness Love will begin to shine through what was dormant and unaware. It's like major awakenings. People will rise to love. Now listen to this one. The Tower of London. And I was like, the Tower of London.
Oh, by the way, this part comes in the Sistine Chapel part 2. Listen.
And so I kind of looked up what are the towers of London, and they named off a few, and then I got so many chills when they said the Queen's Tower, and I was like, oh, on my videos, the skin fell off of King Charles and his wife and stuff, and I also did a thing on, oh my God, I'm sorry, my brain farted. Diana, Princess Diana years ago. When I was doing the murder mystery stuff before I did the Return of Christ stuff and fully came into New Earth. But yeah, there was darkness there. So the Tower of London burning to the ground. Queen's Tower will crumble. Big changes are coming here too. The Tower of London burning to the ground. Queen's Tower will crumble. Big changes are coming here too. Now listen to this one. Okay, I said the Tower of London, so I told you some big things are coming through. Fires of an unprecedented nature will occur, will suddenly come. Fires of an unprecedented nature will suddenly come this
And they did.
year. And I do see fires.
And I'm hearing there's more to come.
Leaving some vulnerable and exposed. And I get chills when I say that one too. Okay, so the Tower of London burning to the ground. The Queen's Tower will crumble. Like a tower moment, right? Blah, blah, blah. Big changes are coming there too. And by the way, you want to know who made the V and the whole virus thingy? Was us, United States, and the United Kingdom together. So we are not separate. We do things a little differently, but we are totally connected. So fires of an unprecedented nature will suddenly come, leaving some vulnerable and exposed. And if you want to know where, they didn't tell you where. A lot of times they're not going to, because they're not here to create fear. What they're here to do is get you to see, to rise up and let everything else go, because we're going to have different experiences. And those that are rising can't focus on the darkness and can't focus on the fall. We have to focus on the rise.
So the fires did happen, and also when I did the Sistine Chapel part 2, it connected to the White House, and it also connected to the Tower of London. So there, we are all connected, and that is all part of the darkness portal.
Which is why I wasn't on going, oh my God, I told you there was going to be changes in tides coming in through San Francisco. It hasn't even happened yet, right? That was a warning though. I already know I cut off California. I already know what's to come. So I was the only one that...
So I went into the fires and I'm talking about California again. Do you notice that? Like, I'm just putting that together now. I talked about the fires again, and then I talked about California being cut off from life support. Where were the worst fires so far?
We'll see. When it's time.
I'm hearing there's more fires to come.
But it's coming.
So as I'm doing this, I'm hearing right now there's more fires to come.
That's a big one coming to a bigger one, okay? Okay, so then we have shifts in weather patterns and seasons. Leave some guessing the reasons. Listen to this one again. Shifts in weather patterns and seasons. I told you I did that already. Leaving some guessing the reasons.
There's a lot of people blaming HARP, and I want to do a video about that too, but I've told you a long time ago is that they've actually lost the power to the grid. So the shifts that you're going to watch are all controlled by the shift in the Return of Gods.
Do you want to know something really cool in the Return of Christ work? You can find it on my channel. It's in the playlist. It's on here. It's on there. When Atlantis fell, because I saw myself die, I saw all of that, I actually had to process what happened to Adam and Eve when my DM and I united on that level and stuff. But when Atlantis fell, okay, ties into Mt Shasta, it all ties together, okay? There were some gods, angelic presence gods, big beings of light, that ran to Newgrange, Ireland, they escaped and they ran to Newgrange, Ireland. Okay, that was not Lemuria necessarily. Listen to this, because I did this. This is where I brought the full power of the sun through into the ley lines, was at Newgrange, Ireland, because they shifted there when the season shifted. All this stuff happened. Life shortened, life expectancy shortened, because they messed with the moon and the sun and all of that.
And what's happening with the sun right now? Why are these things happening? Why are the plane crashes happening? I told you why. Because when these mass rays of the sun come through, stuff that doesn't align ceases to exist. It messes with our electrical grid. It messes with the ability of planes to fly. It messes with all of our things, right? And all of our awakening process. It messes with consciousness of all. And it's coming in now. So the work that I did prior is exactly what's happening now. I brought down all these rays of the sun through the ley lines. And then now we're having all these massive solar flares, which aligns with everything from birthing the new earth to that.
And so these beings went to Newgrange, Ireland.
And I told you, everything I've talked about matters, and I didn't put it all together until now.
And they created these portals of light. It's like ley lines. I'm getting chills. And I didn't know this till I did the work. It's on my channel, though. You can watch it. And so it's like full power of the sun return video. So they created these ley line portals there, like a protection for themselves, because big shifts were happening. They messed with the seasons, they messed with the life expectancy and things, and they knew they weren't safe where they were, so they went to Newgrange, Ireland, and they created this most beautiful like ley line portals. And when I brought down the full power of the sun, that's where I shoved it into, and then into the core of the earth and all over the earth. It was amazing.
The
Check that one out, okay?
Not the 144,000, the trees and the earth.
Okay, so we're moving on. More to come. So, darkness will fall as the light rises. Okay? Darkness will fall as the light rises. Justice system crumbles and is reformed. Now here we go into the justice system. The justice system crumbles and is reformed. Will not be needed at all in new earth. Karma has its way. Municipal building will crumble and fall. Make way for God's justice once and for all. Okay? Medical field. Power of light will be called home, and all will know truths of their own, because we are all healers. We're meant to be.
I just recently undid the medical field. It's just in Patreon because YouTube banned it. So I think I recently did that after these predictions were done.
I always questioned when I was younger why I had to go to somebody else to tell me what was happening inside of me. It didn't make sense to me. I was always like, how do they know more about what's inside of me than I do? Like, I was questioning that hardcore, and now I know. I didn't know as a healer back then. Now it makes sense, because as a master healer, I heal everything, and I do mean everything. I prove that to myself time and time again through all my healings. I do them all the time. Matter of fact, I did one yesterday, and it's somebody I'm still kind of new with. And I was running through, and in the end, every time she's like, yep, that was right. That's where my pain is. How did you know? You know, and it's like, I see the inside of your body. So the medical field is built on false pretenses. It's like, again, kind of like religion. It's like a division of light.
So when I undid the medical matrix, you know, it has the wings and the two snakes. That all broke apart, and the two snakes went back to where they came from, which was Adam and Eve.
They took a power of healing, and you know, these medications and things are not good for the body. So, power of the light will be called home, and all will know truths of their own. They'll be able to, like, we should be able to hear our bodies. We should be able to feel our bodies. It tells you everything, and we forgot that. We were cut off from that ability. Karma will reign, and light, love, true healing returned once again. Okay? So, as far as the medical field goes, I feel like on some aspects, like, we will combine some things, but as a most part, it was not built in the light. And God said that as I was doing some of the Return of Christ work, he said the medical field was not created in the light.
I didn't undo it yet. When I do this predictions, I didn't know that was coming either. So I recently undid it. It is in Patreon. I uploaded it to YouTube, but they banned it because it speaks. There's a satellite in Alaska they spoke about. They use satellites. They control the mind and stuff through the medical matrix. They control, I had to heal it through our spinal fluid. So it was an intense healing. It is something you have to heal out of. the false medical matrix. It has, since this video, been undone. And you can only find that on Patreon because they banned it immediately. Also, somebody knew, like, I noticed I sparked people's shadow that even follow my work. And the next thing I knew, it was banned within minutes of being uploaded. And those people didn't even, like, it, I can see way more than you think I can. So the crown games is only for your soul.
Light. So it can't remain the same, okay? Bitcoin came up. Bitcoin, for all you Bitcoin fan addicts, fans, members, whatever. The bottom will fall out. Been controlled the whole time, part of a system undone. All value will be lost in and of the matrix, a returned back to the light of the one, the path of the sun. Railways and airplanes came up as well. Malfunctions coming and power lines must go. So there are malfunctions coming to railways and airplanes. And I do mean like maybe some like all of a sudden dropping.
What? Another plane crash, another plane crash. How many have we had since the beginning of the year? And I did this video right before the beginning of the year. I told you, I told you these plane crashes were coming, and it's unprecedented. We just had one today over Florida, one yesterday over the Hudson River again. We've had the emergency flight go down over the mall area that time. We had the one fly into the other plane. Like, it's been nonstop. Those have been nonstop, and I predicted those, okay? So everything that I've predicted, from these earthquakes to the fires to the plane crashes to the Pope dying, he at least did in the thing, and I'm sure it will come. But it's deeper than that. It's not as big as just one dying and getting a replaced Pope. So most of what I've already said is coming through already. The fires.
Like electricity issues, you feel me? That's because it's like tied into the power lines here. And so I was like seeing like electricity issues. Power grid collapse and shift and leave a massive rift.
So here we are again with power. Could that be just electricity, or is it the crown games?
That's what they said. Power grid collapse and shift and will leave a massive rift.
Is that the false system of the cabal? Is this why they're pushing so hard against for you to choose them right now and give your power of the light? See, in their mind, the way they've done it before is they got all of mankind to choose the shadow over the light. But no matter what, the only thing that does now is take you away from the light. You can't be both. It will never happen again. It's all been undone. I'm going to tell you right now, it's all been undone. A new earth has already been birthed. I did it all. There's only one thing coming I still didn't do, which dawned on me the other day, but that's minuscule.
What does that mean? Well, don't know, but I don't think I have to worry, because I'm already rising. Technology will transform to quantum levels of 7D. Okay? So transportation, I asked specifically about the cars that we have. The cars that you know will change and grow. Some will become a way of the past, and new technologies arrive at last. Galactic transportation. Transportation will evolve to a galactic level. We have spaceships and things, you know what I'm saying? There is technology that we did not have access to. It's not that the government wasn't aware of it. We didn't have access to. They made sure of that. And science is not even evolved enough yet, okay? God said that many times. You see how some people fight about the earth being round and flat? It's both. God showed me it's like a ball with a gyrosphere. Like you have the flat plane inside of a circular existence. And anywhere the earth shifts, that flat plane remains flat. Okay? So the earth is actually both round and flat. They're actually kind of detaching from the system, and they're limited in mind space. Okay? So transportation will become more of a galactic transportation. Now, some of this is like, I can literally, as a master healer, when I had my awakening, and I was supposed to freak some people out, and it even freaked me out a little bit at first. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can't do anything against free will. So those who do the remote viewing without permission from the other side are not operating within the light. So Big deal. But I can literally come out of myself and go places. I did it a lot when I first started healings. I would come out of my vessel and I would see myself at a soul level, like light. And I would just all of a sudden go to where they were. It's like immediate there. And I would be there with them. And that's how I would do the healings. I would see something that let me know that I could convey to them that I was there. So slippers they were wearing, something I wouldn't know. And I would say, I saw this. And they would be like, how'd you see that? And I would literally put my hands on them and run the light through that way. Not to mention, I did something with Mr. T back then, giving him a paper. I didn't know what it was, and I saw the White House. I saw the people standing there in their khaki pants, like these black kind of shirts, jackets with like these ties and like these little thingies and like these thingies in their ears. And I was walking through the lawn, and I went to an office where they don't show you on TV, like nobody's aware of it. It's like his personal office. And I remember being with people. Like, I don't know how, I still don't fully understand it to this day because I'm like, did I embody somebody else's body? I think I did. Like, I don't get it. So I ended up handing him a paper, and the paper was upside down. I don't know what was on it. This was a few years ago. This was back when I first started doing the work. During a meditation, I just went there, and this is what I saw. Handed him the paper, and I was scared. I was like, are they going to see me? Are they going to, I kept thinking that, are they going to see me? Like, I knew I was there. I knew it was real. And I was like, they're going to see me. Oh my gosh. And I handed him this paper, and then I skedaddled. So I don't know the totality of what that was, but transportation is not necessarily done and will continue to be done in the limited mind space of third dimensional construct. It is going to transition into a seventh dimensional plane of existence. Okay. So can we have teleportation? In some ways, yeah. Okay. May not be the way you think it is all the time, but in some ways, yeah. All right. So that's what they said. Okay. We have Biden dying. We have the Queen's Tower crumbling. We have shift of land and water. That was the London Tower, by the way. We also have something with the Pope coming. Something about a sudden death of a Pope. I'm not sure if that meant this Pope will die or a Pope of the past. I don't know. That one was not completely clear, so we just have to put this in our pocket.
Because they said Pope John Paul II, and I questioned it. And I should never question what they say. And I didn't even know that I was going to be removing the soul of St. Francis and exposing the Antichrist portal of darkness later on. So,
I didn't ask details. Like,
super important to keep watching this one because I go over what Judgment Day really is. And remember, we've had more plane crashes. And also, one more thing is that your faith will be tested in the final days, and that is what is happening right now. Okay? This is the final push of the cabal. It is the final tests of your rise or fall. Okay? So, very important. Crown games are here. Crown games talk about the power of mankind. Do you choose the light or do you choose the shadow? The thing about that is the shadow can't win either way. The only thing they can win is you. Soul path guidance, every choice, every decision you make matters. Everything you wish to do matters. And when you go to do the work of my stuff and when you watch my stuff, resistance will be applied. Your shadow will be applied because your choices matter. Do you choose the karmic side? Do you choose to throw judgments towards this work? Do you choose to push into resistance for this work? Do you choose to try to shut down the work? Do you choose to see? Do you choose to push past the resistance? Do you choose that it's not love? And I choose love. No matter what, I choose love. I choose to rise above. And even if things are difficult, I'm going to choose what God calls me to do because I'm not just supposed to be codependent civilian of the Matrix. It's the end of time. It's the end of ways. We can no longer be duality. And I am so very proud of who I am and what I've done, and I will not let other people's judgments depict what I do. So much love. Because I won't become those judgments. Will you? Bye-bye.